These, whoa, camera, look at me. I'm the focus now. These are awesome, but I can't draw straight lines, let alone paint straight lines without a ruler, painter's tape, or something else. And that got me thinking, how do I achieve this effect, but in a more 3D and kind of tactile feel? And also kind of cheat, so I don't have to make perfectly straight lines. Cool, huh? These are awesome, and Gabby is an amazingly talented artist. If you haven't checked out their work, then you're missing out. So I highly recommend you give them a follow and show the appreciation for the awesome stuff they do. But more specifically, this is what I want to do, but I couldn't paint a straight line to save my life. If it's not a ruler and painter's tape, then I am shit out of luck. And that got me thinking, how can I make a more tactile 3D version of this? Well, I have an army of machines and a lot of CAD skill, so let's make it in real life, right? First things first, I had to sketch out the shape and actually make a design. So that is where our Core D20 come from. This is what I make all of my models with when I make masters. Then I added my planes, my sketch, and I added my bar. Boop. Then I went ahead and duplicated that. And magic. Now, if my years on YouTube have taught me anything, I should be big enough I can do YouTube magic now. So, it worked. So what we're doing is, now that we have our frames all printed and magicked out of the computer, I'm gonna take my X-Acto and clean up a couple of the edges where the supports were, just to make sure they're nice and clean. It's nothing horrible, but you can see there's a little excess material on here that we can go ahead and get rid of. Now I'm just using my X-Acto, just boop and boop. There we are, just so it looks nice and clean. Hello, hello, focus, come on, I believe in you. So we've taken a little bit of our hot glue and then stuck it to the string, so that way it hangs nice and loosely. So when we come through and spray paint it, everything will be easy. That's my working theory, at least.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
So I've got all of the dice frames suspended and ready for spray paint. We're gonna get this set up outside and start making some magic gold happen. Or silver. I haven't fully decided on my frame color yet. All right, let's do it. Whew, it's so cold. Yesterday it was 60 degrees and beautiful. Today it is 20 degrees, windy and cold AF. So I should have spray painted this yesterday. But that's okay, because, oh Lord, it's so windy. Ah! No! Oh. Let's talk about this. This sucked, mostly because of my incompetence, but I'm going to talk about it so you can learn from my mistakes. First and foremost, let's talk about common sense mistakes I made. We are in Kansas City, and we had this wonderful thing called false spring, as I like to refer to it, where we will have a beautiful 60-degree day followed by a cold, wet, rainy, icy day where it's like 10 to 20 degrees. So the day before, it was beautiful. It's like, awesome, I'm going to be able to spray paint these, no big deal. Next day, went outside, did some ninja flips, and quickly realized it is horribly cold, and not only that, horribly windy. This works great if it's not windy and not cold. So the spray paint took a little bit longer to dry than it would normally because of the temperature. On top of that, because of the wind, they kept blowing, and then they would stick to the strings or stick to each other, and yeah, that was just a not great experience. So if you are going to spray paint, I would recommend the string method. Definitely did work, but I would do it on a not windy day, and also making sure to space these all out. If you can notice, these are not at the spacing they were before, and that is because when they were close together, it was traumatic. So let's get these off the strings, take a look at them, and get them into the dice. We're just gonna do it like this. See, and this was the main issue I had. I had to spray it a bit thicker because I had to do multiple coats because of the stupid wind, and because of that, the string kind of got glued down in some places rather than being free form. I'm not mad about it, I'm just annoyed. But I really love this gold. So this Rust-Oleum gold, 10 out of 10, can recommend. Alright, it's been a couple days, mostly just because I have horrible time management and I'm always doing a million things at once, but here we are. So we're gonna go ahead and get these cast. Now, every time I look at these frames, the first thing that really strikes my mind is that terrarium vibe. If you ever go to like Michael's or Joann's or Hobby Lobby or any of those, you'll find like the glass polygon shapes that like people put air plants in or succulents or whatever it is, and that's really the kind of vibe these give me. So I kind of want to lean into that for this first set I make with it. Now I have my drawer of fun here. Okay, here we go. So I've got some flowers I've dried myself, but they don't have like the color pop I'm wanting. So I think we're gonna go with these definitely authentic dyed flowers. Oh, cool. Yeah. So this is definitely the vibe I'm going for. So you see it's got the greenery, some leaves in there we can use. These are gonna work. Okay. So I'm just going to grab all of this. Yeah. Because I'm gonna construct this in a way, and I want to make sure I have all the right colors that I need. So we're just gonna take all of it. I also need some moss. Is it down here? Oh, it's down here. Like I said, miles of fun. All right, I got just a few things here. No big deal. Let's go ahead and get them in the dice. All right, I've got our blank mold here, and we're gonna go ahead and start popping these inserts in. Now the big thing you might notice is here on the side, I've got hot water with our resin, and I'm heating up the part A and part B. And the main reason why I'm doing that is because I want to make sure that the resin is nice and thin. So we're removing the viscous nature of it. And that is going to help us really with making sure that we don't run into any issues whatsoever. with the air bubbles that are going to happen from all the florals we're using here today. Now I'm going to get these guys in here. I think, let's see, we'll start with this D20 after the D6. They're not like super fragile. They're also not fragile, if that makes sense. So I just want to make sure and get these in there because they're perfectly fit. So they go right into the edges of the blank mold because I wanted them to be as flush as possible. We already give some tolerance for the blanks themselves, so I don't want these floating around in the die once we put them in there. Yeah, now we've got all of our frames in there. They're looking beautiful, they're looking pristine. So now we want to prep these with the flower choices we're going to be working with here. Okay, cool. Good. So we've got our moss. We're going to be adding that in first, but I want to mix it with a little bit of resin before I do that. And then these are the baby breaths that I want to use. Okay, first things first, this resin should be good to go. You see how viscous that is compared to normal? And I'm drying these off because the last thing you want is water in your resin. Just a big no-no. And then I'm going to go ahead and just pour that into there. This is definitely more than I need for this pour since we're doing blanks and we've got a lot of volume in there. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have too much than too little. So I don't want to add too much color to this, so we're just going to add a little bit of light sparkle and just a touch of this mica. So boop, 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 3 drops of that. And then I'm going to go ahead and open this guy up. A whisper. Literally just enough to add a little something that'll catch your eye. So first things first, I've got a resin cup here. I'm going to transfer some of this. And we're going to take some of our moss. Now this is synthetic moss that I actually got at the dollar store, believe it or not. It works really well. It costs $1 and you'll have enough for a whole lifetime. But because it holds a lot of air, I always mix it in to a little bit of resin to really get it saturated. So now I'm just going to grab some of this, put it into the mold, and then now this is where your artistic side is really going to come out. And gonna make, because essentially you're making little tiny dioramas. As we make those decisions, like, okay, how much do I want? Do I want it to just work as a foundation? Do I want it up along the edges? Do I want a heavy amount? Do I want just a little bit? You know, you gotta really use your mind's eye and balance out what this is gonna look like once you get all the florals in and everything. So you can really start to see it come together even by just adding in some of that moss. Just how pretty this is gonna look once it's done. Now with the D4, because usually you're working with that tip, I'm actually going to work and put it all on the side wall here so that way I can get a flat face. All right, cool. We could set this aside. Now we have all this, and we're just gonna come through with our resin, not too much, just topping off a little bit of that moss layer. And then I'm gonna, like I said, come back through with the paper towel just to get those little moss bits up. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to make sure you don't have any giant chunks or thick pieces that are going to ruin our casting. So now I'm going to grab some of these really pretty leaves and I'm going to place them. Now, I think one of the biggest mistakes you can make is not being dynamic enough with your placement. So don't be afraid, make sure you get up in that wall, get in there so you're actually having that 3D scale. You don't want to just flat, flat, flat. No. You need to have balance, layers. And it can be difficult, especially when you're working with a product that likes to move around on its own. Anyone who's worked with resin before will know that it is not a very compliant beast. Like, oh, you wanted some color there? Well, how about over here? I like over here. See, and I think this leaf is a little too big, so we're just gonna boop. I want just a little pop of color. So we're just gonna tear little pieces of that, pop them in. Oh, it won't get off me. Fine, you'll stay there forever. Congratulations. Like I said, just getting little pops of color in there. Let's go with this nice big dark leaf on this guy. Yeah. Alright, now we're going to take these little tiny flowers, and I'm going to take that and just like that, break off a couple, just because I want just a few. Don't want the whole thing, I just want a little bit of extra pop of color. Awesome, and now gotta pour a little bit more resin. You see that big air bubble pop up? That's what we want. Oh yeah, pop. Now we're going to take our florals like so, and we're actually going to, this is really important, the florals themselves hold a ton of air. So I always recommend dipping them into resin and then placing it. I'm going to go ahead and place a couple more of these leaves just to, like I said, give it a little bit more depth. Kind of just got to trust the process at this point because you're going to really not be able to see due to all the bubbles and all the resin. Then these are all good to go. So just like normal dice, we're going to go ahead and cap this off. Make sure there's plenty of resin in here. Gonna give it a final kind of just poke just to make sure we can tease any air that's in there out There's a big pocket, but I think we're good. Woo. We have all our excess resin on here, got a little bit of resin on the cap, and now we're ready to go ahead and get it capped. Now this delicious floral sandwich is ready for the pressure pot. All right, another day, another costume change. These are cured. Let's take a look, and fingers crossed, things didn't go too crazy. I haven't popped them yet, so you're gonna be on the journey with me. How's they look? They're okay? We good? Oh. We're good. I was super worried I went too crazy on putting stuff in there, but I am so happy I did. These look awesome. Now I gotta clean these up real quick, and we'll pop them in some molds, and then like magic, they'll have numbers. Diddly 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 diddly. It's done. Well, it's cured. Well, it's demoldable. That's the important part. I haven't actually seen it. All right, let's. Oh, it's so satisfying. See, that's when you know you got good flashing. Just comes off like paper. Oh, D4 wanted to say hello first, apparently. Guys, it's beautiful. I'm so jazzed right now. All right, let's get the rest of these out of the mold so you guys can take a good look at them. These dice are heckin' cool, and I am super pleased with them for a couple different reasons. The main one being just the overall sense of depth. Like, because it's not just painted on, it's actually a 3D texture object. You can really see into the dice, and it feels more like it's encapsulated rather than just a pretty line on there. And it has its own texture to it, and it's not quite perfect, so it just really encompasses all those little flaws that make things beautiful and unique. If I were to do anything different, I think the next time I do this, we're gonna go with less moss so we have more negative space, and see if we can get a little bit more pop of color with some more exotic little flowers, maybe more blues, a little more pinks, purples, just something a little brighter, give it more pop. But to be perfectly honest, I'm super pleased. I wanted to nail that terrarium cube polygon shape like these guys here, and we nailed it. So if you'd like to win a free set of frames, go ahead and comment down below what type of dice you'd make with them and what color you'd make your frame. I think I'm gonna go for silver on my next set. And also a big shout out to our winner here. Congratulations. I'll be messaging you on your comment and on YouTube here to let you know that you've won. I almost forgot, if you want to pick up your own custom frames, we're going to have these for sale in our Etsy store. They fit all of our standard dice molds and even the custom D4s. You can find that through our Etsy shop or druiddice.com. Katarina also said I should give you guys a little sneak peek. Next time, it's going to be something awesome. Happy casting.